Hello there, my movie peeps. Thank you for stopping by. Let's talk about some movie news. Some of the things we'll be discussing here today, guys, is we got the full-length trailer for the new Final Destination movie, really giving us an idea of the plot. We have Billy the Puppet himself making a comment on whether the Saw franchise is canceled, and an interesting report going around of when we can see some more Superman footage. Oh, we're going to be diving into that along with so much more, so you guys know the drill. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Timestamps will always be in the description. Let's go into our first story. And well, today we finally got a full-length trailer for Final Destination Bloodlines. If you remember a couple weeks back, or maybe even a month ago, we did get a teaser trailer that was essentially a clip of the movie showing off one of the kills. Well, today they dropped a 2-minute trailer that really then confirms the big accident and the new plot that makes this movie different from all the other Final Destination films. So the trailer confirms that the next big accident for the Final Destination movie is a restaurant set within a high-rise building. And okay, I guess that's pretty cool. I was hoping for a much more common situation, but yeah, that'd be pretty frightening, especially with the way the trailer plays it up and the glass breaking and people falling. I am afraid of heights. But I think the bigger twist revealed in the trailer is that this accident actually took place decades ago because the main character's grandmother actually was the one who had the premonition and avoided death years and years ago. And it's because of her saving herself and a bunch of other people that then those people had kids, grandkids, other family members, all people who were never supposed to exist, and now death has finally come to get rid of those bloodlines. That's really the thing that is selling me on this new Final Destination movie. I just kind of like that new added twist to the premise. There's also moments where it looks like the grandmother has like journaled in all the things on how to avoid death and keeping track of where it's been going all these years, which makes me think that they're going to reveal that all the other Final Destination movies were just people who were originally connected to that same restaurant accident that then led to the first movie, second movie, third movie, and so on. Which, yeah, not a bad little twist. And I do love how the internet was already going crazy with that little tease of glass ending up inside the drink at this family event. It's that classic Final Destination stuff that makes you worried about everyday situations. Now you're going to look at your glass a little more heavily now, aren't you? All this for sure looks exciting, but I do want to mention the one thing that is kind of bugging me about this trailer. I know, we're never allowed to criticize something we're excited for, okay? It seems like this newer film is keeping in line with more of the style and tone of Final Destination 4 and 5, where those movies really shifted in the way they looked. Like, they were very bright, almost rom-com looking movies. The deaths also felt so much more silly and exaggerated. I really wish we could go back to kind of the tone and look of the first two movies and even the third movie, where they were really dark in style. They had a very serious and moody tone. The third movie, I think, struck a really good balance of kind of having those campy, slightly funny kills, but a lot of it was still dark and trying to keep it serious. There's something about the kooky grandmother and the really bright scenes within the trailer where it's sticking to more of that campy look. Just a small nitpick, but just being honest, and that looks like it'll be fun. We'll see when we watch the movie if it turns out to be great or not. Oh, also can't forget, really great that they were able to include Tony Todd in there. Looks like he filmed his scenes before he passed away, and he's been a part of almost every single Final Destination movie since the first, so it's nice that he'll have one more appearance in the franchise. How are you guys feeling on the new Final Destination trailer, and do you agree with me of the change in style and look from like the first 3 to 4, 5, and now 6? Next up here, we got an update to the Friday 13th franchise and their ongoing reboot that's coming in the form of a television series. So as you guys know, it's been an up-and-hill battle with A24, who is gotten the rights to Friday the 13th to make a TV show on Peacock. We had heard months ago that Linda Cardellini would be playing Pamela Voorhees, but that was just from Scooper Jeff Snyder. Now it's been officially confirmed with some small plot details. The article in Deadline notes it here that the series version of Pamela Voorhees is believed to be a mother who had given up a singing career to raise a special needs child and takes a dark turn when she loses her son. And that right there already kind of giving you some insight into Pamela Voorhees that we never really had gotten in the movies. Her wanting to be a singer and then giving up that life to raise little Jason is just a new piece of lore that we can now add to the Friday the 13th franchise. I'm still so curious where they plan to take things though from season 1, 2, and 3, because the previous version of this show before they got rid of the showrunner was that they were essentially going to be remaking every Friday the 13th movie in television form, with the first season being being the first movie, where Pamela Voorhees, Jason's mom, is the killer, and then later seasons evolving and getting the real Jason we know and love with the hockey mask and everything. I hope this show works out, and I know people still just beg for a movie to happen, but legal issues and whatnot are still preventing that. I'd rather get Friday the 13th television show than no Friday the 13th at all. Are you guys happy with Linda Cardellini and this small plot of what she's going to be going through? Next up here, we got another small update on a Blumhouse movie I'm actually really looking forward to, The Mummy. Here you can see that they have finally started production on Lee Cronin's The Mummy, along with announcing who the star of the movie is going to be. And that's Jack Reiner, who starred in Midsommar. Now, the reason I wanted to bring this up is, for one, it's so funny seeing the internet talk about this movie and only bring up two films to compare it to, and that is either Brendan Fraser's The Mummy or Tom Cruise's The Mummy, and that being the two movies that people instantly think of when this new Blumhouse one is being made is exactly why I'm excited for this movie, because the Tom Cruise one and the Brendan Fraser one, whether you like or hated those movies, I know most people love the Brendan Fraser one, those were kind of an action-adventure tale on The Mummy with some horror elements. It was also movies that were connected to Universal with their classic version of The Mummy. With this version, we are not going with the Universal version of The Mummy. This isn't Brendan Fraser's Mummy. This isn't Tom Cruise's cinematic universe Mummy. No, this is going to be a new take on The Mummy that is just going to be a straight up horror movie, and I'm like, yes, let's go, baby. Lee Cronin did Evil Dead Rise. I was really happy with that movie, and is kind of the only reason I'm actually excited for this one, because I know a lot of people, they don't have a reason to be excited. One, you have Blumhouse attached, and they just most recently gave us The Wolfman, who, even though I thought had a great competent director like Lee Winnell at the helm, it still ended up being kind of a disappointment. So even me having faith in this director doesn't mean the movie's going to be great. But I'm just willing to see a version of The Mummy that's just a straight up horror movie that doesn't have to include those action adventure elements, you know? But that's where I toss it off to you guys. Are you even excited for a straight up horror version of The Mummy, or do you prefer the action adventure version? And well, segueing us into a two-part story here, we finally got a release date for the next Strangers movie, Strangers Chapter 2. It got revealed here that Strangers Chapter 2 will be taking the release date that Saw 11 was supposed to have this year of September 26, 2025. Now, I say this is a two-part story because along with the announcement of the Strangers Chapter 2 release date, we had Billy the Puppet make an announcement, but putting that on pause for a second, it is still very interesting to see that they're moving forward with releasing the Strangers Chapter 2 in theaters. Maybe you were somebody that ended up liking that new version that came out, but I did not enjoy it at all. It also didn't do that great at the box office. I was fully expecting them to say, oh, Strangers Chapter 2 and 3? You can see them on Netflix later this year. And they've even taken the criticism from fans on the first movie pretty seriously, and they've done some reshoots on the second and third movie. I don't know if it'll be enough to fix anything going on. And even though I was super disappointed with this last Strangers movie, I'm kind of just interested to see Chapter 2 because it'll finally be their version, their new story of the Strangers instead of what the last film was, with just kind of a very lazily done remake of the original. But I toss it off to you guys. Are you excited for Strangers Chapter 2? And do you think this one will be much better than the last? And well, that brings us into an update on the Saw franchise. So as you guys know, it was just last week we were talking about the death of the Saw universe. So just to give you a brief summary, if you hadn't heard, for the past 2 years, we were supposed to get Saw 11, but they kept delaying the movie and we didn't know why. Earlier this month, it finally got revealed the reason why the movie's been delayed is because the two producers who own the rights to the Saw franchise can't seem to agree on what to do with the movie. We had even found out that the movie was supposed to be similar to Saw 6, where it looks like Jigsaw was going to go after somebody who wasn't giving him health insurance for his cancer. One of the last comment made from the writers said, Saw 11 may or may not be made, but we have a very timely story in it, and I hope it gets made just because of that. It taps into the same themes of Saw 6, where you're a citizen, you feel angry and frustrated with something, you feel like you can't do anything, and John Kramer's gonna do it. So it even looked like it was another movie where John Kramer was gonna play the good guy again, and we were gonna hate the people who were in a Saw trap, just like in Saw X. It even got more devastating when in one of the articles from Bloody Disgusting, they had an inside source saying that even if we do get another Saw movie, it would most likely be a reboot and not necessarily Saw 11, just because of the way things are going with the producers. So with all that going on for a week, out of nowhere, yesterday, Billy the Puppet himself finally commented on this situation. He said exactly, "I've seen the rumors. They say it's game over. You all should know me better than that. The game is never over." And to make things even a little weirder, after that, on the official social media account for Saw and Billy the Puppet, Billy then lists his LinkedIn profile to show that he is still employed. That's not a joke, that's a real thing, and you can look at his resume and everything. It says his current job right now is a life coach. A life coach. Brilliant. So honestly, this is kind of a confusing situation. I've seen so many different sides. Some people going, "Oh, this was all just a big marketing ploy and it was just to stir up conversation on Saw," and it worked. To me again though, I feel like this doesn't change much. Remember, part of this announcement was also to say, "Oh, by the way, Strangers Chapter 2 took our release date. All right, have a good day." They did not give a new release date for Saw 11. So that movie as of right now is still not dated, meaning it's not happening. I know we're going to get a Saw movie somewhere down the line, but we don't know if it's still within the franchise or it's a reboot. And from what some people are reporting, it looks like they are trying to sell the Saw franchise, because if we look at a report from Jeff Snyder, who, like I said at the top of this video, got it right months ago that Linda Cardellini would be part of the Friday the 13th TV series for Peacock, when it came to what he heard about the Saw franchise, he had this to say: "To that end, I'm told Blumhouse made a play for the rights, though the deal fell apart." So if that's to be believed, it looks like Blumhouse did try to get the Saw franchise, and I've always speculated that could be the reason they're butting heads, because we've heard they're not fighting over what the movie should be about, they're fighting over what to do next with the franchise, either continue making sequels or sell it off and get their paycheck. To me, from them saying it's not game over, you'll see me again, makes me lean they're going back to the Saw 11 route. But then again, like I said, it could just mean they're working out a deal, it's going to be sold to someone else, and then they're going to continue making your Saw movies. We'll see what ends up happening, but hey, we got an update on Saw. We're still getting those movies someday. And well, one of the final things I want to discuss here today for Superman, it looks like there's some rumor / report going around that we are set to get a 5-minute preview of the Superman movie come this April. We had a fan that was digging around trying to find out the next time we can see something Superman related, because yeah, it's about time we get more Superman stuff. I'm still pissed about what happened at the Super Bowl and us not getting new footage, and it looks like a theater chain in Thailand did confirm that there is a 5-minute preview that will be playing in front of the Minecraft movie, another Warner Brothers film. And that would be a really smart marketing decision, because right now the Superman marketing has been pretty silent. Yeah, we've gotten some promotional material, a couple toys here and there, but we still only have had one trailer. I'm kind of wondering when they're going to start this giant marketing push, because I remember we were being told that Warner Brothers was going to push this Superman movie the same way they pushed their Barbie movie. We do have CinemaCon coming up next week. You know, that's always a big time here for the channel, where I tell you all the big announcements from every studio. Warner Brothers is set to have a panel on April 1st. You know they're going to talk Superman, and they might reveal a new trailer to the audience that could also be released online the same day. But it's like, dude, it's time to put this into gear. I definitely think we're getting a trailer come next week, because it's got to be attached to the Minecraft movie, but I was not expecting a 5-minute preview. How are you guys feeling so far on the Superman marketing, and when do you think we'll get the next trailer? But anyways, guys, that is all the movie news we currently have going on right now. I'm gonna thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch me talk some movie news. Don't be forgetting to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.